Hello and welcome to the Motoring News Zone, the show where we take you for all the biggest stories in the world of cars right now. This week, Tesla have announced price cuts to their Model Y SUV and Cybertruck, but these deals are not as good as first appears. And speaking of bad deals, avoid the Porsche Taycan EV at all costs. We explain why in today's video. If you're watching on YouTube, skip to the timestamps in the video to watch the story you are most interested in. So, without further ado, let's dive in. The Tesla Model Y SUV has reduced in price in the United States, but by how much? Well, let's get into what's happened here with this Model Y SUV over in the US in this video. Tesla has lowered the pricing for its popular Model Y electric SUV, but the savings are less significant upon closer inspection. The new Model Y long-range all-wheel drive carries a $48,990 MSRP on Tesla's website, which is considerably less than the launch series long-range AWD variant that debuted in early 2025, which cost a shade under $60,000. The cheaper Model Y goes from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 4.6 seconds, and thanks to a dual electric motor. And the battery as well has enough juice to deliver 327 miles of EPA estimated range. Moreover, the sub 49k Model Y is no slowpoke either, and it has a top speed of 125 miles per hour. But the new Model Y's $48,990 price does not include the Tesla's full self-driving supervised software, which costs an extra $8,000 if you want that. Interestingly, the more expensive launch series came standard with full self-driving. So if you do the maths for that, the cheaper Model Y will cost, in theory, $56,990 if you got the Autopilot installed, which is actually $3,000 less than the launch series as a whole. So it is cheaper, but not by as much as what you'd think, because that key feature is of course left out. And if that is something that's important to you, then well, it's going to be a bit difficult, isn't it? And really, this isn't a surprise that the price of Tesla is going down like this. I mean, I did cover a story the other day going over, the used price of Teslas overall. That is going down quite a bit too. And that's because of the knock-on effect of these newer cars also going down in price. But if you do want Autopilot, it's not really a huge saving overall. Yes, it's cheaper, but not by that much. But good news, the Tesla Cybertruck is cheaper. Bad news, it sucks. Even more than it did before, to be honest with you. So Tesla have released a new lighter version, a more streamlined version, if you will, a more basic version of their Cybertruck that is $10,000 cheaper than it was previously. Now, this starts at $62,490 in total, but there's a lot of features that people really value that are not on this model variant. The biggest one arguably being the fact that it's not a 4x4, it's a rear-wheel drive car. The motor that powers the front axle has been removed, making this no longer a 4x4, and therefore pretty bad off-road, I imagine, as a result of that. If you are going off-road or going on a bumpy road, the actual suspension has been downgraded as well. The air suspension is now gone, and it's now got some adaptive coil dampeners. That also leads to a reduced towing capacity as a result, so you won't be able to haul as big of a load out the back either. Speaking of the back, there are no rear seat screens at all in this. There's a soft top above you instead of a hard top, and they'll actually charge you for the upholstery on top of there as well. I think it's about $800 or so just to get a cover for that from Tesla themselves. The upholstery has been downgraded too. There's no longer premium vegan seats. It's something else now instead of that. And also the 240 volt power outlet has also been removed, something that was very much welcomed by a lot of people, but it's not actually a part of this cheaper Cybertruck, if you will. Now, one benefit of all this, the one thing that's probably better with this technically, but the reason why is not great, but it does have a longer range. In total, it can do around 350 miles, which is slightly more than the standard Cybertruck. However, the reason for this is because the wheels are smaller. It's got 18-inch rims on this car rather than the larger ones that you see in the standard Tesla Cybertruck. So, yeah, a cheaper Cybertruck. It is more affordable, but it is not cheap at all. It really continues to struggle with its sales. I think, what was Musk aiming for? Like 500,000, 1 million in the first first year, I think it sold like 50k, not even that. It's nowhere near its targets, and they're just going to continue to keep reducing it. But someone, I mean, I saw this story on MSN on Microsoft. Someone very much put it very well, to be honest with you. The reason why the Tesla Cybertruck is struggling so much is because of the Tesla Cybertruck. They can remove as many different features as they want from this car, but unless they remove the core problem, which is the truck itself, they're never going to sell well. I mean, who is going to buy a Tesla Cybertruck with all these things that have been removed, all this lack of capability for off-roading? Why would you not go for a Ford F-150 pickup truck? Why would you not go for a Silverado, a Ram, a Jeep, any of these other vehicles that you could do for this off-road rugged lifestyle that the Cybertruck is trying to become a part of, but it just does not work. So yeah, your thoughts on this in the comments below. Lawsuits. Americans love their lawsuits, and right now the FTC is suing Uber, claiming that the company has charged for Uber One without consent. Let's have a look at this story, guys. I've got a full article from Annie Palmer from CNBC here on MSN. Lots of different acronyms there. But let's have a look at what has been claimed here and what is likely to happen with this court case. The Federal Trade Commission on Monday sued Uber, accusing the ride-hailing and delivery company of deceptive billing and cancellation practices tied to its subscription service. The agency claims Uber violated the FTC Act and the Restore Online Shoppers Confidence Act by providing misleading information about its Uber One subscription service, failing to provide a simple way for users to cancel their membership, and charging them without their consent. Americans are tired of getting signed up for unwarranted subscriptions that seem impossible to cancel, FTC Chair Andrew Ferguson said in a statement. The Trump-Vance FTC is fighting back on behalf of the American people. The complaint marks the first FTC action against a major tech company since President Donald Trump began his second term in January. The FTC has several ongoing lawsuits against tech mega companies such as Meta, Google, and Amazon. Some cases were brought during President Joe Biden's presidency, but Trump's FTC was aggressive during his first term, most notably going after Meta. Remember the famous court cases with Zuckerberg sweating in the stand. Uber and CEO Dara, each reportedly donated $1 million to President Trump's inaugural fund, joining a lengthy roster of tech companies and executives attempting to cozy up to the incoming administration. Noah Edwardson, an Uber spokesperson, said in an email that the company is disappointed by the FTC's complaint, but that it's confident the courts will rule in its favor. Uber One's sign-up and cancellation processes are clear, simple, and follow the letter and the spirit of the law, Edwardson said. Uber does not sign up or charge consumers without their consent, and cancellations can now be done anytime in-app and take most people 20 seconds or less. Uber One launched in 2021, costing $9.99 a month or $96 a year, and offers perks like free delivery and discounts on some ride bookings, delivering and pickup orders. The company had about 30 million Uber One subscriptions as of December, according to its latest annual report. In its complaint, the FTC argues that Uber advertises its subscription as offering savings of $25 per month without calculating the monthly cost of its membership. It also accuses Uber of charging consumers before their billing date. When users try to cancel their Uber One subscription, Uber makes it extremely difficult, while some users are told to contact customer service representatives to proceed with their cancellation, but are given no way to contact them, the FTC alleges. Some Uber users claim that Uber charged them another billing cycle after they cancelled their Uber One membership, the agency said in its complaint. Ferguson told CNBC last month that the agency will continue to closely scrutinize major tech companies. I've said since day one, big tech is one of the main priorities of the Trump-Vance FTC, Ferguson said. It's one of the reasons the president appointed me to this position. Coursera, I can't say it. That Dara person again, I'm not even going to try. They said in January in an interview at the Wall Street Journal's Journal House in Davos that the company wants to engage with every government we are a part of, adding that the diversity of voices in government can be positive, as the journal reported. Now, personally, I have used Uber. I have never subscribed to Uber One. So I can't comment personally on how difficult or easy that is. I'm getting two different stories there. But from personal experience, when it comes to a lot of these subscription services, some are easy as pie to actually cancel. Literally, press the big unsubscribe button. It's easy. Whereas some make you jump through hoops. They make you call up. It's not very common. It's rare. But there are some out there that do this. Whether Uber One is one of those or not, I don't know. And yeah, charging people allegedly before their subscription date, that is illegal. That is downright illegal. And even if it's in a contract that says, oh, you will be charged 5 days before your actual date, that's really malpractice, and it should be better than that. You shouldn't do that. So, guys, do you subscribe to Uber One in the US? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Is this something that you've experienced? Have you tried cancelling your subscription? It doesn't let you do it. Have you been billed early? Have you been billed an incorrect amount? These savings as well, that is very subjective. Saying $25 a month, is that for someone who gets, an Uber ride 5 times a day? Is that for someone who gets it a couple times a week? That seems very subjective and open-ended. They might say up to this, but if they say it will save you this, then that's misleading in my opinion. But yeah, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert on US law. But if it's anything like UK law, you got to be doing better with that. It sounds like Uber have been a bit shady with that personally, but they're far from by themselves in it either. Doesn't make it right, of course, though. This is kind of wild. I found this story here on Motor Biscuit on MSN, going over how a driver from Utah over in the United States was handed a surprise $1,200 rental car bill, and she's warning others about other instances where this could actually happen. Let's dive in, guys. Let's have a look at what's been said here because, I just thought I'd actually show you the article itself this time because this is something that's a bit crazy to say the least. Absolutely wild stuff. So, Debbie Sanich thought that she had her rental car all figured out. Like many travellers, she passed on the collision damage waiver, the CDW, at the rental counter. Why pay $30 to $45 a day when her own car insurance promised full coverage, right? Well, last year, during a Hawaiian getaway on the Big Island, Sanich found that full coverage has its limits. Another driver pulled out in front of her Avis rental, causing a minor fender bender. I love that term, a fender bender. The other driver's insurance paid for the damage, case closed. Or not. Weeks later, a surprise $1,256 car rental bill from Avis crashed her island vibes. Despite not being at fault, Sanich was now on the hook for fees from her own insurance because they wouldn't touch it. $300 for administration costs, $564 for loss of use while the vehicle was sat in the shop, and $392 for something called diminished value. This is the amount Avis claimed the car's worth had dropped due to the accident. This was a fender bender, Sanich said. What if somebody wiped out the whole side of the car? I mean, you'd be in a lot worse position at that point, but yeah, that's true. She took her case to KSL TV, and while Avis wouldn't budge, insurance expert Brent Thurman explained why most auto policies don't cover those specific charges. Essentially, your insurance might fix the rental car, but they won't cover the money Avis says that they could have made, or what the car's now theoretically worth, and those charges are apparently listed in the agreement that the consumer signs. Sanich ended up paying the bill. Still, she saved money over the years by skipping CDWs. She says that this was just a one-time thing and it didn't work out. The takeaway, don't assume. Check your insurance, read your credit card's rental benefits, and if in doubt, that pricey CDW might just buy you a peace of mind and a smoother return at the rental car counter. This is such an American story, and I have to admit, as someone who has not been to the States in a long time, I'd love to go back. It'd be great to go back, but yeah, that's something that we don't do here in Europe. You pay a deposit when you get the car, you pay the rental price for however long it is. You got your T's and C's, terms and conditions, and that's kind of it. You don't have to pay a fee that's optional on top to insure the car. If something goes wrong with the car, if you crash or it gets damaged or whatever, or even if you don't have enough fuel in it by the time you give it back, you've got to make sure it's on the same level as what it was when you first got it, if not higher, then that gets taken out of your deposit, and that's kind of it. Now, what would happen in the terms of like the car being complete write-off? I don't know. I've not really heard of that personally in my own experience or any of my friends, thankfully. I imagine you just lose the deposit, and then that's the loss effectively that the rental place has to kind of endure at that point. But yeah, I can see why people don't want to pay. That's a lot. I mean, if you're going away for like 2 weeks or something to Hawaii or whatever, like this lady was, that's a lot of money. That's like $500, $600. That's not cheap. Then that's just an optional fee. So yeah, I can totally get why she didn't pay it. But at the same time, yeah, what if it was a write-off? She'd be having a massive bill to pay, depending on what car it is. I mean, it could be like a $50,000 bill easily, depending on what model it is and stuff. So, I mean, if she was at fault as well, it's even worse. You've got to pay the other persons then at that point. So, yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. We've spoke a lot here on the channel about the depreciation of the value of electric vehicles. Used EVs are actually financially a very good deal if you're looking for a used car. They are often a lot cheaper than their petrol, gas, diesel equivalents. But the downside to that is, of course, the depreciation in the value. Now, if it's great if you're buying that outright at first, but obviously over time, then your car, because that's your car at that point, will also lose a lot of value over the next few years. And a really extreme example of that has been found in the US recently. A 2023 Porsche Taycan, which obviously 2 years old. It's not an old car. It's the EV version of that car. Now, it originally sold for the standard market value at the time of $109,000. It recently sold, this owner sold for $54,000, which, if you're doing the maths, is just a smidge under half the original value. Now, you might be wondering, well, what's wrong with it? Has it got a window missing? Is there a wheel missing? No, nothing like that. The guy's not even driven it that far. 27,000 miles in 2 years, which that's not much. That's kind of standard, really. For the US, that's probably quite small, to be honest. If he's using it for an everyday runaround anyway. Now, this is really terrible for that owner. Obviously, they've lost $50,000, just over $50,000 on the value of their car in 2 years, which makes it financially an incredibly poor investment, really, when you think about it. Of course, cars have their other purposes as well. You use them a lot, they will depreciate because they are older, but still, this is a pretty damning indictment when it comes to, if you want an EV and you want to resell it at some point, it's probably not the right thing to do financially. It really isn't. Those cars do not hold their value. And it's not anything that's exclusive to Porsche either. The same thing has been happening with Audi. Their e-tron GT has also had a similar collapse in price over the last couple of years, if you want a used version of that. So, yeah, it's a really interesting one. I mean, in the end of the day, there is not as much confidence around electric vehicles. There is not the same kind of desire for electric vehicles. Therefore, them being on the used market is rarer. And, in some senses, that might actually help your kind of value of your car out if you're trying to sell it. But at the same time, if there is not that desire for it, most people, when they get an electric vehicle, they insist on a new one because things like the batteries do wear down. And there is that perception there. And it is true, the batteries do wear down. I mean, I put a video guide out not too long ago going over the best ways to maintain the health of your EV batteries for as long as possible. So yeah, it's really quite interesting. That is a massive one. And it's not, like I said, it's not the only one, of course, but it's something that we're going to see a lot. So if you're wanting to get a used car right now, the cheapest, the most bang for your buck right now, effectively, is to go for an EV. But years down the line, your car will have depreciated an incredible amount. And I'm going to be interested to see how EVs built now and in the last few years, how much value they retain after 3-5 years. Is this something that's going to continue with EVs? I think it will. Until the perception of EVs that are used being unreliable is gone, whether that is a true representation or not, that is still the general consensus of people, but especially those that haven't owned an EV, that are going for their first one as well. So, yeah, interesting, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you surprised by this news? I'm surprised at the severity of it. That is a huge amount of depreciation in just 2 years. China is really trying to step up its game when it comes to the electric vehicle market. They basically dominate the global battery trade when it comes to electric cars, and they are trying to push their brands across the globe. Particularly here in Europe, you're seeing a lot more Chinese electric vehicles on the market. Now, some people say that China is leading the way when it comes to this. BYD in particular really leading the way when it comes to the technology of charging your car so fast that you can actually do it apparently in China now as fast as just filling up at the gas station or the petrol station for us here in Europe. But unfortunately, whenever this kind of progress, whenever technology is being pushed, sometimes people pay, and sometimes people pay with their lives as well. There was a horrible incident with a Xiaomi car there, a Xiaomi SU7, where 3 people's lives were lost and $15 billion went down the drain as a result of this. Let me just have a look at this, guys, because this is, like I said, this is a horrible story, but I feel like it's important to bring it you here on the motoring channel. So shout out to AutoPost for covering this story. On March 29th, tragedy struck in Anhui province in China when a Xiaomi SU7 crashed while operating in navigation on Autopilot NOA in an advanced driving assistance feature developed by Xiaomi. 3 college students aboard the vehicle were killed after the SUV left the highway and collided at approximately 60 miles per hour. Although the system detected an obstacle and engaged emergency braking, it failed to prevent the fatal accident. News of the incident spread rapidly across China's internet, sparking widespread public shock. In response, Xiaomi's stock valuation plummeted, erasing approximately 120 billion Hong Kong dollars, which is equivalent to around 15 billion US dollars from its market capitalization in just 2 days. Public skepticism towards Xiaomi's intelligent driving technology quickly intensified. Notably, Chinese state media outlet Guansha CN criticized the incident, highlighting that exaggerated marketing promises could lead directly to real-world tragedies. And yeah, looking at that picture, it has. That is horrific. There's barely anything left of that car. There's no surprise, really, that 3 people lost their lives in a tragic crash like that. In one especially poignant detail, a victim's mother revealed she had repeatedly warned her daughter not to trust the autonomous driving system overly. Despite these warnings, the daughter reportedly assured her mother that the system was safe. That mother must be going through hell right now. It is, yeah, I mean, she warned her, but, you can never predict these things. You can only do what you think is the correct thing at the correct time at the end of the day. But yeah, one of the actual factors behind this is misleading marketing, allegedly. Let me show you why. The primary issue emerging after the crash is the widespread misuse of terms such as intelligent driving, with marketing materials creating consumer confusion. Not only Xiaomi, but numerous Chinese EV brands have marketed Level 2 Advanced Driver Assist Systems, ADAS, in ways that suggest that they approach fully autonomous driving capability. Misleading language such as hands-free driving, automatic obstacle avoidance, and advanced intelligent driving has become common, leading consumers unfamiliar with the technology to believe the car could drive itself without supervision. Exaggerated promotional videos further deepen this misunderstanding. Content depicting drivers removing their hands from the steering wheels or even closing their eyes, oh my goodness me, that's terrible, has proliferated on Chinese social media, garnering hundreds of thousands of views. Shortly after the crash, footage emerged of another Xiaomi SU7 driver reportedly asleep behind the wheel on a public highway, underscoring persistent confusion and misuse. Man, there's more on this article if you guys want to look through it. It's a good piece on it and everything. Yeah, that's just downright terrible. It just shows that autonomous driving has a long way to go, and marketing their cars like this, that's terrible. To say or allude to the fact that you can, it's all right, you can do hands-free driving, when actually you should be paying attention. You can't really blame people for trusting technology at that point, can you? Yeah, you might say they were stupid to trust it. Would I trust it? No, personally, I never would. I would never get in a car without a driver. I just wouldn't. It's a bit like getting on an airplane without a pilot, even though I know the computer does most of the work. It's just nice to have that human element there. That's my personal opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with that. I know there's a lot of people out there that trust these kind of technologies, but unfortunately, incidents like these, they're not completely out of the blue. We have seen some pretty horrible things. So your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Would you get in an autonomous car? Your thoughts in the comments below. As always, like, share, subscribe if you want to see some more like this. As always, and have a fantastic day wherever you are. And if you have an autonomous mode on your car and you want to use it, be careful with it.